Hello and welcome back to my office, and today, just for the Templars and the scavengers, I'm going to do something at last which I've been promising to do for quite a while, which is show you a bit around my office. I say a bit because some bits are just too horrible and scary for me to try it. Now this is going to involve a strange amount of picking up cameras and walking around. I'll apologise because it's not likely to be the smoothest video I've ever done. Still, you've asked for it, here goes. First of all, I have to show you where the dogs sleep. This used to be a lovely chaise longue. Unfortunately, it has suffered a bit from being owned by hounds. Now, some people believe that the desks of authors should be neat and tidy. I think a neat and tidy desk is proof of a really bad mind. But here, for those who are interested, I've just received 2 more Conway Stewart pens to be reviewed, and I'm looking forward to having a go with them. What's here on my desk? Well, obviously keyboard, computer, pile of books with notes on top about something I've got to work on currently, with another series of books beside. Over here I've got a printer underneath a lot of paperwork. And a dictionary and a thesaurus. You'll see that I've got a Bowron, which I collected on my travels many years ago, and then a whole series of crime books. So Agatha Christie, Edward Bridge, Raymond Chandler, G.K. Chesterton. All sorts. And then of course we've got the area behind my desk where I happen to have some of the books that I'm going to be looking at shortly for the 6th book in the Blackjack series. And then there's short story books which I've been involved with, and medieval murderers, and collaborative books like The Sinking Admiral, and my own books like Act of Vengeance. And then we've got the Templar series from Headline here, as you can see, looking very elegant, with 2 antelopes that were my mother's. She was always very proud of them. I thought I'd rescue them when she died. And then at the bottom we've got the rest of the Templar series, Headline and Simon & Schuster, followed by Fields of Glory in the Vintner trilogy, and then Pilgrim's War. Over here I've got more books. The Oxford History of England, which is quite interesting. Up on top that pile of little thin volumes is a whole bunch of books all about the history of Devon. Then we have basically First and Second World War type books leading up to Vietnam and so on, the nuclear age, etc. This is a section where there's some interesting books like Rudyard Kipling's History of the Guards in the Great War and Decisive Battles, but there's also things like Secret Societies, which is an interesting book. It's not an easy read, but it's just fascinating. Then we've also got some more books based on Blackjack's London, as well as some research material about Devonshire taxpayers. And then if I move my chair out of the way, there are even more books here, which is getting very dark because there's not enough light down there. However, if I come across here, we have books on mercenaries, then life in medieval castles and so on. Excellent books. Black Prince, The Great Plague, The Black Death, The Spanish Inquisition. That's a fun book. The Monks of War, which is all of the different warrior monks. The Newgate Calendar. I haven't finished that yet, but really good read. Murder. The Goodman of Paris. That's a fascinating book, which tells you an awful lot about how people used to live. And then we come on to the interesting bits. Now, I'm going to see if I can just light up this area a little bit more. Doesn't look as though I can, but... Right, so we've got notable trials. That's very interesting, edited by the author of Rumpole. And here we've got public executions and the tales behind them, as well as all 8 volumes of Gibbon's The Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire. Then, of course, we come up to some lighter reading with Churchill's History of the Second World War, a bunch of books on Scotland, Harold, Froissart's Chronicles, that's a good one. In the Hour of Our Death, that's a nice book. It goes through a lot of medieval thinking and medieval thought. The Rule of the Templars, obvious, pretty much essential reading for me. Jonathan Sumption's books about the 100 Years' War, which were a great influence obviously with the Vintner trilogy. And then George MacDonald Fraser, brilliant writer. Norman Cohen, excellent writer. Books on the Crusades, bit hard work. Ketchware's Dutchman, that's a good book. I seem to have mislaid The Washing of the Spears. It's down here somewhere. Then some more ancient books, Mallory, Bunyan, Plato, Caesar. I actually bought that book on Caesar, or Caesar's book on the Gallic Wars, when I was a schoolboy at the age of about 11. I used to read it on the bus on the way to school. Sad character. Lots of very old books up there. The Diary of Samuel Pepys, The Old Yellow Book and so on. Down here we've got Cambridge Medieval History Volume 6, as well as various other books. And then we get into the ancient stuff. These look really delightful. They are delightful, but they're only cheap versions of these books. They're not strong leather-bound stuff as they look. They're not ancient. I bought them really not that long ago. And then we have Transactions of the Devon and Exeter Record Society. We've got lots of books there. Medieval England, that was a really good book. It was quite an influential book for me. The War of San Sardos, in here. These looked like a brilliant buy when I got them. Unfortunately, they're all written in Latin, which doesn't do much for me. Got a bit more Churchill down here with the Great War. Keane's England in the later Middle Ages and so on. Lots of books. And then if I come down here, which hopefully you can see, oh yes, I'm trying to tidy things up. You see all of my books that are on the shelves here didn't used to be there. They used to be the opposite side there, but above the whiteboard. But that shelf started bending significantly in the middle, and I thought I need to do something about that, so I had to start to look at other places I could put the books. So the books went behind my desk, and all of these books here got transferred to sitting on top of a filing series of boxes. Not ideal. While I was over here, I should just show that I've got an ancient firearm certificate from back in the day when I used to have pistols, a painting of my parents, which I always rather liked, and then 2 sides of bookshelves with a dog who's bored with me talking at her. Never mind. And then coming back here, next to all of this lot, is the working desk, which you will all know perfectly well from my videos, no doubt. And this is nice because up here I've got the Templar series in paperback form with the later ones there, while underneath, if you can see it, are all of the original headline versions of the paperbacks. And then another set of bookshelves underneath with my foreign editions down the bottom, while opposite them are the piles of books, the author copies which I've got, which at some point I must try to sell because it's a bit pointless keeping them all here. These on the side are audio books. It's a bit of a leaning tower of Pisa of audio books. And above are two shotguns that have been deactivated, so they're just for decoration, the same as this old BSA rifle. Lovely old gun, absolutely pointless trying to keep it. So that's my working desk there, with inks, stationery and files and notes. And then over to the other side, guess what? There's more books. This always tended to be the medieval section. It's full of books on medieval history for research, and it covers just about every aspect of life, including the law. So for example, here we've got Selden Society books. If you're thinking about learning about history, Selden Society is really worthwhile. Tavistock Abbey there, wonderful, wonderful book by a brilliant historian, H.P.R. Finberg, who writes like a thriller writer. And there you have it, a very quick whirl through my office. I haven't covered the rougher bits. Next time perhaps I'll go through some of the more interesting books I've got, which include the different books on murderers, poisons, and the history of killing people. It's all good, exciting stuff after all. Hope that was interesting. Let me know if this is the sort of thing you do want, because it's quite fascinating to hear what people think of the different things I've put up. Now I'm hoping this has all worked. If not, I'm just going to have to go and re-record the whole lot. So wish me luck, let's hope it functioned. Thanks very much for watching, speak to you soon. Take care.